Yo, this is Pooya. Welcome to the video on how to tank Priory. First off, we're gonna go over the route that we have. On the first pull, we want to take this 4 in front, and then the pack with the knight, and then the pack with the sharpshooter to the right of the fountain with the minibus. Where we're gonna be tanking all of this is right in this corner under the stairs, so the knockback from the minibus won't be able to knock you back and you just fly to the wall instead. We will be using Bloodlust on this pull, and it's a very simple pull as long as you rotate your defensives and be able to also help the group as Prot Paladin with your sack, with your buff if there's a bleed on someone, and also freedom for the AoE. After the pool dies, one of you, either priest if you have in your group or paladin, will go to take the buff with a mind sooth on these. Or if there is no mind sooth, be very careful to pull it from the far back around here where my mouse is, so you don't accidentally pull any of this. After you take the buff, you're gonna horse up and run all the way to these three mobs here, and grab them, and then come back and grab this pack right here. And then the minibus, the second minibus, chainmail, is gonna come from this stairs from here, since you killed the first one on the right side. So be very careful of that. Be careful to instantly taunt it and not let your group ninja pull. Basically, this pull 2 is gonna look very big, however it's not, because it's mainly a chain pull. Once the caster dies on this group, you can go and chain it to this one, and then once again a sharpshooter or a caster die, you can chain it into this one. If you feel like your group has enough CCs or good interrupts, you can take all of them out all together. However, I advise against it in the pug scenario. After we kill all of these, we go into pull 3, which is fairly simple. You just kill this pack, and then we go into mini boss. While you're running, you're gonna tag these two, and then you come down here, tag these two. You might ninja sharpshooter. In order to not ninja, you just want to taunt, press your taunt ability on the one that is closest to you, and then the other footman will run to you without pulling the sharpshooter. However, if you use any ability on the furthest footman closest to the sharpshooter, it will also aggro the sharpshooter and you will have it in your pack, which is not that big of a deal, but why have it? Why have a hassle? It's unnecessary. When you pull the minibus, you have to be ready as a proud paladin to instantly interrupt it with your shield. What I do personally is to taunt the boss and then immediately throw my shield at the minibus, and then you just tank normally. Then we go into the boss, and then after all of that is done, we go into the main room. So what I like to do on the pull 7 is to bloodlust. We pull these and then this together. Well, these are coming down the stairs. The paladins down here are gonna send them AoEs flying. So you wait them out. Once they send their AoE, you can easily wait 2 seconds and then pull this pack. Once this pack sends their AoE, you can also pull this pack down here if you think that your group is capable of doing, but you don't really have to, as it will be shown in the video later on. You don't have to do that at all. We basically kill this pack, and then you can pull this, and once the caster dies, you can chain into this group. Once the casters die or paladins are about to dead, you can chain it into this group. This is not all together, it's all a chain pull. After that, we do the pull 9, fairly simple, and we go into the pull 10. So when you're about to do the pull 10, you want to just run in and throw your shield at the caster here, and also have 3 holy power ready to immediately use your shield of the righteous. And then you go back and LOS them here so that all the mobs run at you and you just tank them there. After that, you go in, you can do the same thing where you just tag these two and then bring them back if you want, or you can just tank them around here by interrupting the casters and then just pulling back so you don't accidentally pull the patrol. And then after that, we go into pull 12. Pull 12 was fairly big. If you feel like your group can survive it, you can do it without blood loss. However, there's a high chance that one person will die in this pull, because of an accidental footman dying at the same time as a paladin throwing their AoE, or a caster casting at the same time as a paladin, or the light spawn has their dot on someone and casting on someone, and then paladin AoE is going out. and you don't have sack to support that person, your healer cannot top them off and they can die. So it's a scary pull, and the best way to burst it down, you can either separate them if the timer is fine, or if the timer is tight, you take them together and bloodlust. And this pull 13 is another chain pull right here. We take the mini boss with the footman, and we just kill the casters. And after the casters are dead, you can chain it into the down group, but you have to make sure that the mini boss dies before these guys die. And then after mini boss is dead, you take this side as well, and then you kill them. The reason why I like to do this chain is mainly because these guys will go around 40% HP, 50% HP, as it will be shown in the video later on. And these guys will be 100, so they're not going to all die together and explode. And then we go into the last boss, which is fairly simple. My talents on this dungeon, I'm going to be using these talents with Templar. On the right side, I pretty much always in every single dungeon use this right side, and I never change it. It's a pretty good default. And other talents here are kind of useless in for what you will have in Mythic Plus. Wither's Cancel, Lust is priority, and usefulness to us in after the nerfs. It's really pointless to take it, and I love to take Bastion Light instead. It fits my playset really well, and I recommend everyone to try it out and get used to it, as it synchronizes really well with Templar and also synchronizes really well with our tier set this season. On the left side, I like to take Hodge City Decrease because it really helps to CC the casters and help the group with an additional CD. I take blind, so the footmen in the beginning of the dungeon, when they cast their shield, you can just use your blind to interrupt them all at once without your group having to use their own CDs and CCs for it in their globals, so it's an additional help. Freedom is very, very helpful in this dungeon because of the fact that you can cancel the first mini boss's AoE damage and also help someone to also not take that damage. I mainly use it on my healer when we're doing that first pull and the first mini boss, and it also is useful on the second boss, where the second boss will cast a shield and slow you down. You can precast your freedom to not get slowed by it. I also like to run Bob here to remove the bleed on the first boss, and also on the first pull or any pull that has a knight. You can use it on someone who has the bleed before the knight AoE comes out, because that bleed has a very high chance to disallow someone to be at topped off and full HP, and they can just die to that AoE. And then the rest is pretty simple and self-explanatory. So now we go on to the dungeon run. Very simple beginning. You just tag these guys with the shield and then instantly use your Shield of the Righteous. So you get that armor. If you get hit, they will hit very hard, and this is a 15. So once they hit you, they can hit you for half of your HP if you don't have the Shield of the Righteous buff. So make sure to have that. Then we will tag these guys with a Judgment, or if you have your shield ready, you can use your shield on them if it reset. And again, make sure to have 30 Holy Power to use your Shield of the Righteous, otherwise you just melt down. Then you tag these mobs and also tag the mini boss with Divine Toll, so you get all the Holy Power, and then pop wings and just be able to spam your Holy Power. So we pull the mobs around here. On the first one, basically I used Eye of Tear. It's a good thing for Templar, and you should pretty much always use it on CD and try to keep the Shake the Heavens up as much as you can. And the basically Shield of Rajas give me that 5% DR, and then because of that, I managed to easily survive the knockback, especially with the shield as well, and just continue the pull here with Bloodlust, and the pull just continues. I see that the knockback is about to come, so I should press Ardent here. There we go. I press the Ardent, I freedom myself and the healer because this knockback is about to overlap with the AoE, which will cast instantly after the knockback. Here comes the AoE. As you can see, me and the healer don't take any damage and don't take the slow debuff as well. And then we just continue to pull normal. Here comes the third knockback, which I should be using my Guardian here. Okay, I asked for external instead. So that is also fine. You can ask for external if your group has it. If you have a monk, you can ask for cocoon or PS or bark from a doo-doo. And shaman should be able to top you off always. However, in this pool, is just best to use a defensive for your tank buster that is about to come. So here I decided to ask for external and just got a pace up and just survived it with that. And then one main thing that I forgot to mention is that in this poll, you should tell your group to focus Knight, because the Knight bleed and the AoE is very heavy on the healer. So as the sooner it dies, when healer has all the CDs and everything, the better it is for the pack, so the pack and group survives. Also, another thing that I forgot is that I use my buff on my healer when initially at the beginning of the poll. As you can see, my healer has a bleed, so I use a bop on them and it removes the bleed and they can just easily survive it. So yeah, we go continue. After the pain sub comes, so I didn't have freedom for this AoE. You're not gonna have freedom for all the AoEs. You will have it for every other AoE. So make sure to remember that. This next knockback, I use my guardian for it. Pretty simple. We continue. And then the next, I should be using my Eye of Tear now. So here it comes, Eye of Tear, full heal. Knockback comes in, my Eye of Tear, I realize that it's about to run out. So what I should do here is to Ardent, but I decided to use the bubble instead, which is wrong. I should have used my Ardent here instead of bubble. But again, totally fine, not the end of the world. And then we're gonna continue, and here comes the next tank buster. I realize that I'm full HP. I don't need to do anything. I basically pop wings, so I decided to not use Ardent there. If you're full HP, it's totally fine to just take it without a defensive. However, if you're not, even the slightest, always use a defensive. So I popped Ardent, and then here we go for the next one that comes in. I'm full HP, I don't care, I just let it hit me. As you can see, I just fully survive it. Yep, that's pretty much it for this bowl. And then as I said, after that our priest takes the buff. I go and tag these mobs here, and then I bring them back, tag these mobs here. I told my priest before the dungeon start to mind control one of the sharpshooters or casters. If there's too many of them, to make the pull easier, you can tell your priest, if you have one in the group, to do that as well. However, it's not really necessary in the end of the world. It just makes the pull much easier. Our priest decides to mind control this sharpshooter. However, the issue is that if you do that, it will aggro this pull here. But again, because of the fact that we only have one sharpshooter and only 3 casters, it shouldn't be a big of a problem, and we just deal with it. So priest mind controls, this pulls, we manage to get aggro, miniboss comes in, we have everything set. I see that I'm taking a lot of damage, so I pop my Ardent here, and the pull goes as normal. Divine told to bring everyone in, and then we just continue the pull pretty normal. As you can see, after the casters are about to die, I bring the other pack in the corner in, and then we just kill this pull. There's nothing really special about it. And then we go here, we skip. You want to wait for the patrol that is safe to skip. If the patrol is patrolling left, you want to go to the right side. If the patrol is on the right, you mind soothe these sharpshooters so you don't accidentally pull them, or just wait for the patrol to go all the way and you can hug this wall here and go. And then we go for this pull. Again, another pull that you want to focus down the knight, and it's a fairly simple pull as well. So we do this pull, and then we go onto here. So we tag these guys in, we go in, and then as I said, if you don't want to pull the sharpshooter, you want to tag this footman. If you tag that guy, it will pull that guy. However, because again, I told my priest that mind control the sharpshooter on this pull, because it's mainly expected to tag that sharpshooter in. Our priest, even though that guy wasn't aggro, decided to just mind control it and bring it in. And so we did that. As you can see here, the icon for my mind control tracker, and we just bring it in and we continue. I tag the mini boss, I use the shield to bring it in, and then the pull starts. So the first defensive that I use should be Eye of Tear here. Yep, there it is. And then after that, if I see that I'm taking a lot of damage, I use my Ardent. Also, I ask for external here as well because this pull hurts a lot in the beginning. So it's best to just have something either Eye of Tear, instant use, or Ardent instant use, or external, which is the best case scenario for me here. I notice my healer has 2 pain subs, so I just ask for pain sub. So here we go, continue. If I see that I'm taking a lot of damage, I usually pop Ardent here, but everything was fine. When the sharpshooter, if you ask for mind control from your healer, you want to instantly taunt it because it does a tank buster hit on whoever is aggroed on. So you want to instantly taunt it and stun it to get the full aggro and do not let that tank buster go through. The tank buster is not really a tank buster. It doesn't hurt tank, however, it hurts everyone else's a lot. But yeah, that's for this pull. We kill it, and then we continue to the next one. So on this one is fairly simple. We tag these 2 pulls in, and also we pull in the mini boss. You don't wanna do what I did here, which was a mistake. You wanna taunt the mini boss first, and then throw your divine toll or shield to silence it and bring it in. What I did was to just bring it in with a divine toll, which was a very big mistake. And as you saw, it just stands there casting. But I was lucky enough to get a reset on my shield. This pull is very, very easy. There's nothing special about it. With your group, you should be able to CC multiple casts. You should be able to, if you have a Boomy, beam it. And as a Prot Paladin, you can help a lot with the interrupts. You basically don't need to use any defensive on this pull. You just go full offense. As you can see, I pop my wings and full CD and just go in, interrupt as much as I can to help the group, and just basically blast the pack. But then after this comes the scary part, which is the boss. So we're just gonna go over the whole boss pull. So we pull the boss with wings. Even though BL is gonna be ready in a minute, we don't want to build this boss really. BL is way more worth and efficient on the next pull that you do than this one. So we pull the boss, everything is fine. We stack up a little, heal up a little, EOT as our first defensive, and then we just go. Because of the fact that I procced my what do you call it, tier set, and also I had iron tier running, and I was about to get a free hammer to heal myself. I really don't see the need to use defensive on the first one, so I just continue blasting here. Everything for now is just blasting. There's no big damage really coming in. However, I see that the judgment is about to come in, which is a very big hitting tank buster, and if it overlaps with the bleed, it hurts a lot, as it makes you take 25% increased damage until your healer dispels it. Even by the time your healer dispels it, it can tick once, and that one tick of extra bleed deals a lot of damage. And with the judgment coming in, I decide to pop my Ardent here. Comes in, I get a tick, but everything goes as usual. Basically, I get a free Eye of Tear proc. I use it for self heal. As you can see here, I'm dropping a little, so I use it for self heal. On this boss, you want to use a lot, and I mean a lot, of Word of Glory to heal yourself. I usually have around 200 million self healing on this boss, and around 150 million of it, or 140 something around there, is from Word of Glory. So you really want to use that quite a lot. So here the AoE comes in, I see myself dropping, so I decide to use the Racial Dwarf so to remove the bleed, so there is not much damage going on. The main source of you taking damage on this fight is the bleed from the captain and not anything else. So yeah, that's very simple until now. And then judgment comes, gets dispelled. I don't have to worry about it because I don't have the bleed. Here I should use my IF tier. There you go. Basically you want to use it on cooldown. The healing is very useful. The DR is also very useful. And here comes the basically big damage here, the overlap. So what these two do sometimes is that they overlap, they bleed and judgment at the same time, as you can see, and it hits really hard. You want to use a defensive here. It was a very bad move by me and kind of a gamble to not use Ardent. I should have used Ardent here. I just gambled it, but however, I managed to survive by creating a Word of Glory and going back to full. I was hovering my Lay on Hands to just lay on hands instantly, however, that crit walk really helped. Then the free hammer comes in, I use it for self-healing again, and the pull goes as normal. Here comes the main CDs, Create, Passion of Light, and Signet that I use as Trinket. And then I go full blasting a little. I see my heal dropping again, so this time I don't have Dwarf in the AoE and the bleed. What do? I use the Bob Taunt to basically keep the aggro and also drop the bleed. So again, that makes it much easier. When the judgment comes after the AoE, I pretty much don't have to worry about it at all, and I just continue tanking normally because I don't have the bleed going on. And then here I ask for a paint sub because I basically don't have anything. You could have said I could have bubble or use guardian, but if my priest has 2 paint sub, why would I not use that? So I ask for a paint sub and then continue tanking, use EOT for self heal, and then the pull goes on like that pretty much. Then here comes the AoE again. I don't have the pop, I don't have the racial, and I have a bleed on me. I don't have even free Word of Glory. So what do? I use my Lay on Hands here to go back to full HP and the pull continues. After that, here comes the overlap again. So I should be using Bubble here or Guardian as I don't have anything else, and I decide to use Bubble. This overlap hurts a lot, and you want to keep an eye on that to always use the defensive for it. So yeah. And then I tier proc. I have that Guardian running, which is very useful. If you're lucky to get your tier proc, that 4-second Guardian is really good. However, one main issue that I have with it is that it makes me kind of greedy. That here, as you can see, I have the tier proc and I'm just blasting and not really paying attention to my HP. And then I drop and suddenly I'm like, oh shit, I have to use Word of Glory. And again, it creates, heals me back to full, and the pull goes. So here comes the AoE with the bleed. I'm full HP. I don't really need to use anything for it. I just Word of Glory to keep myself topped off, help the healer out. And yeah, I also use Ardent here. And then on the next bleed, I see the boss is about to die. I use my racial to remove the bleed again. The pull just continues. I remember on this pull and boss fight, toward the end, I was really thinking about using Guardian or Pain Sub because the next pull after the boss is a very heavy pull on tank and the healer, of course, as well. And it's very bad to go into that pull without any defensive. So I wanted to have something up for that pull, and I really didn't want to use my Guardian for it, so I decided to ask for a Pain Sub instead. Yeah, this is how we kill the boss. And then I'm home, so I take a second to drink. I go in, get this pull, and now just take a second to stabilize and desync the AoEs. So we use BL, and then we just go blasting. The AoE comes in, and then I tag the other pull in. If your group is really good, you can also tag the group above. However, again, in the POC scenario, which is also what I've been in, I recommend against it. Yeah, this pull is very simple, just rotate defensive. What I mainly do is to use my Eye of Tear into Ardent, into Bubble if you have Bubble, or into Guardian. That's mainly what I do for rotation on CDs. And then here I go use my Guardian. Or one of us dies, unfortunately, because of the cast going through and at the same time as the AoE. Unlucky, really. And then I use my Ardent. I asked for a PS because my Ardent was on CD, however, the PS wasn't ready. And then after my Ardent ends, I can ask for a PS here, or I should, which I do, yeah. So yeah, I get a pain sub, and then we continue the tanking until the pull dies. I decided to bring them out here to make it closer to our new DPS coming from the release. So they will have some sort of impact instead of just being inside and running all the way. Yeah, we go to this pole. We kill the old Paladin. We kind of chain it into it. We try to focus the caster. However, I asked my basic healer to mind control the caster so I can chain instantly. But our healer didn't do that. Even though we had this thing that if I ping my healer, they should be mind controlling one of the casters. But I don't know what happened. They were too focused on the healing and they didn't do that, but the pull went fine. But basically, you don't want to really do this pull when there's 3 casters. Your main should be to have mainly 2 caster and not more. Because otherwise it will be very dangerous. I even pinged it, I even typed it, but the healer didn't do it. But it's fine, we live. And then after that, we go to the other pool after the casters die. We basically chain it. And then these guys die. Which is very, very simple pool. Here comes the boss. So on boss, I told my team that if I ping the soak, that means I'm gonna soak all. And if I ping myself, that means to stack on me. So at first we stack here to bait the hammer that comes down. The hammer comes down, and then we pull the boss away from it because they spin and go around. The soak is unfortunately inside the hammer. Unlucky, really, what can you do? Here, the boss bugs out. It should cast the shield, which is a group AoE damage like the Divine Toll that the Paladins do. But the boss doesn't do that, and it bugs out. And as you can see, I use my freedom on myself and the healer to avoid being slowed. But it's a very known bug, and Blizzard keeps trying to fix it, and they don't manage to. So on the first one, when I have wings, I decide to just soak all without really bubble or spell ward, and it's only 3 of it always, so you don't really need excessive defensives. So I use my Ardent, tanking 2 dots, and then I go and take the third one, and then I use my Guardian, and just tank 3 dots and the boss at the same time. As you can see, my heal is always full, so it's not that big of a deal. You don't need the Guardian for much longer anyways. I did ask for Paints Up here, which was wrong. I shouldn't have asked for Paints Up. It was very unnecessary, and I would have lived even without it. And here comes the hammer again. We stack up to bait them, and then again, unfortunately, the soak is inside the hammers, but you can just wait it out. And then here comes the shield. I freed up my healer. Comes the shield right here, and we get out of it. One main thing that you have to be very careful of is to not soak before the shield, because it overlaps and the damage of the soak to the group and the shield has a very high chance of killing someone. So here I just wait for my healer to top everyone up, and once I see that everyone is getting topped up, I use my spell ward. I go soak 2, give healer some space, soak another, give healer some space, soak another. You don't want to soak them all at once, otherwise someone has a high chance of dying. Just give them like half a second, 1 second to finish a cast or something to heal the group up. That is very important. And rest of the fight is basically pretty the same. We continue, bait the hammers, bait the shield, we go for the soak. This is the soak that I asked for the teammates to help soaking, even though I could be soaking it all alone again with the bubble. However, I rather to keep the bubble for when there is 5 soaks instead of 3. So when the soak comes in, I ping my teammates to help with soaking, and then I soak 1, team soaks 1, and it goes like that. However, this is the 5 one, so I use my bubble, soak 2, soak 3, and as you can see, I'm delaying it a little. I'm not going instantly all of it at once. But yeah, we killed the boss. Simple as that. This pull is also very simple. You focus 1 paladin down while kicking. I really like to keep pulling the mobs above the stairs, so open the door early and move them up. And then comes the next pull. So you tag the furthest ones and then pull the close. And then you want to LOS on the right side here, as I said in the route. And then we come here, we pop the CDs, and we just go blast mode. You don't really need defensive on this pull. It's a very easy pull. The main important thing is these volleys. If it goes out, it does a huge AoE damage to the group, and most likely it's gonna also overlap with something, and there's a high chance that your group just wipes. So this is a must kick cooldown that you have to do. Sorry, cast. Um, the pull continues, nothing really excessive. And then one main thing that you have to be careful of, this light spawn mob, when it goes to 25% HP, it then starts to explode. If there's any mob inside of that explosion, as you can see the circle, they will get healed up. So you want to move them out. One trick that you can use is that if the mob is already casting, as you can see here, it starts to cast on Monk. So it's casting on Monk, which is the reason why Monk dies, because it overlaps with the AoE from Sacred Toll and Paladin. And the Monk dies because of it. And also had no defensive. I should have used my sack on him. But basically, after the pull, after the dot ends, is when it explodes. So if you manage to make the mob go to 25% while it's casting, you have to immediately start moving out while it is casting, because you know after the cast ends, it's about to explode. You can predict it very easily. So if there's a caster in the group or anything like that, you can pull them out much easier. So we pull them out here, and then it explodes, and then we go kill one paladin and chain into the right pull and the left pull. So this is a very easy pull again. The only thing that you have to be very careful of is the heal cast. If this would go through, it would heal the paladin up. We don't want that, of course. And if you chain like I did, it will always cast this great heal. So you can just taunt it, let it cast, and instantly shield it. However, I didn't do that here because I wasn't paying attention to it. The only thing that you have to be careful here is that volley from the mage, 2 mages, and double light spawn. So you have to pay close attention to double light spawn casting on one person. If they cast on one person, they need an external, either sack or spell ward. So here we basically do the pull. Everything is going smoothly. We do the interrupts, and then here they cast. I see that my monk is going really low, so I decide to sack them, help the healer out as well, even though it was just one single dot. And then this pull goes on. I see that my healer is dropping really low, so I decide to spell ward them. There it goes. And then we just do the interrupts and then kill the pack. But yeah, after this pull, we go for the patrol with the left side, which is a very risky pull. As I said, you can use the bloodlust on this pull to just blast through it. But again, it's also doable without bloodlust. However, as you can see, if a cast goes through like this, double cast, and our monk just dies. So yeah, we cannot have cast go through at all in this pull. It would be best for a priest to mind control one of the casters here. However, we didn't do that. And we just do this pull. We go onto the mini boss, which is one of the hardest pulls in this dungeon as a tank and a healer as well. It has a permanent AoE damage on the group and also has a tank buster that hits as well. You want to use a defensive on the tank buster. It hits very hard, and it's also with the AoE running, so it can really make you die. If you're around 20% HP and you have Ardent running, you should not feel safe, because the tank buster can easily proc your Ardent and cheat death, and the AoE can easily kill you. So make sure that you're always around 50% HP minimum if you have Ardent running, and if not, just cycle your defensives. So I use my Eye of Tear there, and then I got a Tear set proc. I use the healing from Eye of Tear again. When you see my heal drop like that, it's a HUD bug, and it's not really doing that, but it's kind of scary when it happens in the game. So here, after the footman dies, we basically go for the chain pull. However, one important tip about the footman is that before it dies, if you stun it hard CC like Hodge or any CC from your group, it doesn't explode, which is why I use my Hodge here. So we kill it while it's a stun, so this footman does not explode. As you saw there, the Hodge ran out, we didn't kill it in time, so it exploded. And then we chain it to this pull. Make sure again to kill the mini boss before killing this pack, which is very easy to do. Once the mini boss dies, we chain it into the right pull, and then we continue. I see a footman die, so what do? I should Hodge right here. There we go. I Hodge it, and then it dies, no explosion whatsoever. And then our priest tries to fear, so when this one dies, there's no explosion. There we go, no explosion. And then we go to the last boss. Last boss is very, very easy as a tank. You basically are doing nothing. You don't need to use any kind of defensive at all. And the main thing that you should be doing is to just do this interrupt and tell your team to don't interrupt unless you don't have it available to just get that free holy power. However, it's good to let your shaman interrupt whenever they have it so they get that additional DR damage reduction. And yeah, this boss is very simple. You just continue blasting. When it goes to 50%, you go up. And one thing to be careful of is that whenever she casts the blind, you want to turn away and not face the boss. So here we turn away and then go back to the boss. And yeah, when she hits 50%, she goes to phase 2. You want to go upstairs and start DPSing. And there will be these mobs that come in. You want to hard CC them. If they touch people, they hurt a lot and they can easily kill you. As you can see, we put down Vortex there. We use the ring there. And we continue like this. And yeah, basically continue and kill the boss. There's not really anything specific about it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this guide and learned a lot from it. Until the next time, goodbye.